Webinars, should they be live or recorded? That's what we're going to answer today. Make sure you hit the like and sub button so you never miss one of these videos. And if you know webinars are for you, look in the description for my free course. All right, let's jump into it. How many of you listening to this have been on a webinar in the last 6 months where the person said it was live, but you knew it was recorded? You knew that it was fake. Think about that for a second. I guarantee that when you watched it, in your mind, you were like, yeah, they said it's live, but I know it's not. Does that build credibility with your audience? Does that build trust with the people who are watching? Just from that answer, I think you know that you should probably be doing a live webinar. But you might be saying, but I want to turn it evergreen. That is 100% okay. Just call that out. Be honest with people. I will tell you, we've tested this and we have seen that people who are honest and say, this is a live webinar, but for those of you catching the recording, you're going to be seeing the chat as it was live. Right there. That builds the credibility. Hey, they're being straight with me. They're being honest and upfront. That's all you need to do. So that still doesn't quite answer the question, should you do it live or should you do it recorded? You should always do it live at least 20 times before you put it up evergreen. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't drive people to the recording. The way I would do this is every week or every other week, depending on what your budget is for ads, do it live. Then you have the closed cart sequence, which is 3 to 4 days, and then put that recording up on your auto webinar platform, whatever that is, whether you're just using a VSL or whether you're using something a little bit more complicated. If you're looking for a really good product that does evergreen webinars, if you click the link in the description, I'll give you what I use, something called Webinar Kit. So now you're doing your webinar live every week. It doesn't matter as long as you have a few people on, 3 or 4 people. There's one lady that I know, she has done her webinar more than 100 times live. She usually has anywhere between 5 and 15 people on, and she always gets at least 1 or 2 sales. That is 100% okay. Would you make $4,000 a week by only spending $1,000 in ad spend? Of course you would, right? 1,000 in, 4,000 out. That means you're making $3,000 a week off of your webinar. Would you show up and do a live webinar every week for that? Of course you would. Now, here's the thing. When you do your live webinar, you're going to show up with way more energy than if you just do it recorded. This is why I'm telling you, do it live, take that live version and turn it into the auto webinar. Don't just sit there and do a recorded webinar. Doing a live video, for those of you who do Facebook Lives, you know that you show up with different energy. You know you show up a little bit more focused. You know that you get better results when you are live. So do it live and then turn it evergreen. Now, you might be saying, well, Steve, why are you saying to do it at least 20 times live? Do it 20 times live before you permanently turn it evergreen, because each time you do it, you're going to get a little bit better at the presentation. You're going to get a little bit more dialed in getting across your certainty and your enthusiasm for your product, which is at the heart of sales. That is the power of a webinar. When you come across truly energetic and 100% sold on what you're doing, and you transfer your enthusiasm, your excitement about your product to the listener, that's where sales are made. And that's why webinars are so powerful. Each time you do it live, you're going to get just a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. If you look at Russell Brunson, he did the Funnel Hacks webinar more than 100 times live before they pulled it and turned it into the evergreen. You might be saying, well, that's like 2 to 3 hours a week that I have to dedicate to it. Well, if you're making a couple $1,000s just for showing up, let's say that you have 10 people show up on that webinar and you make 1 sale. So you made $1,000 for 90 minutes, but it doesn't stop there. By getting better each time, you are honing your craft, you're practicing, you're doing deliberate practice like Michael Jordan, right? There are people who just show up and scrimmage and they play a little bit and they're like, yeah, I got some physical activity in, but they're not growing. They're not becoming better at what they do. In order to become better, you have to do disciplined practice. When Michael Jordan wanted to become the best in the world, he went and he shot 1,000 free throws. He went and shot 1,000 free throws. He went to that place on the court, right off the left of the free throw line, where he got really good at doing the fadeaway jumpers. And he practiced that daily for hours until he nailed it. You're doing the same thing with your webinar. So I would argue with you and say, If $1,000 isn't enough, first off, it's always worth it. But I would tell you that every time you do it, you're going to get just a little bit better and just a little bit better. And at the end of a year, your presentation skills are going to be absolutely phenomenal. So how do you do this again? I'll just give you the real quick breakdown. First off, you want to have your webinar, you want to drive some traffic to it, and you want to do it live. Well, the closed cart sequence is rolling. You want to download that webinar and turn it into an evergreen product for the next week until you do the following live. You can use a software program like Webinar Kit, which is linked in the description below to do this. Then the next week, or 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later, however much budget you have for ads, however often you want to run your webinar, do the webinar live again. Take that recording and just rinse and repeat the process. Do this over and over and over again, and you're going to see your confidence soar. You're going to see your clarity and your delivery go through the roof. You are going to become so dialed in that you will start making more money. You're going to see your conversions increase because your skills will get better. Now, if you know webinars are for you, make sure you check out the free course in the description below. If you have a webinar, but it's not performing the way that you want, click the link in the description. I'll do a webinar intensive VIP day with you where I will break down your entire webinar. I'll show you what's working, what's not, and how to fix it. And last but not least, if you know that webinars are your ticket to success and you want to build a webinar from scratch that gets massive conversion, there's a link down in the description where you can book a short strategy session with me, and I'll show you how we can work together to build your webinar from scratch. We'll script it together. We'll build the deck together. I'll practice it with you and give you line by line feedback so you can get the exact results that you want. Also help you build the front end funnel, the landing page, the autoresponder sequence, everything that you need to build a webinar that makes you massive profits and makes a dent in the universe. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. And until next time, take action, change lives, and make money. I'll see you soon.